Have you ever noticed how the human brain can instantly recognize over 5,000 faces, yet we still manage to blank on someone's name seconds after being introduced? It's this fascinating quirk of memory that shapes how we navigate social situations.
That's such an interesting observation about human memory. And it really connects to these awkward social moments we all face, especially in professional settings.
Well, speaking of professional settings, let's explore how these memory quirks have actually led to the development of some incredibly sophisticated social tools. These phrases and expressions we use to navigate potentially uncomfortable situations.
You know what fascinates me most about these social tools? The way they've evolved differently across various business cultures.
That's exactly right. Take the phrase, "I'm in a bit of a rush," for instance. Studies show it's perceived as 40% more polite than direct statements like, "I have to go," especially in Western business contexts.
Hmm. And isn't it interesting how that same phrase might be considered too abrupt in some Asian business cultures, where more elaborate exit strategies are often expected?
Well, that brings up another fascinating point about how contact information has evolved in the digital age. Research shows professionals now exchange an average of 2.8 different types of contact methods, compared to just 1.2 types a decade ago.
That's such a dramatic shift in how we handle professional networking. And it really shows in how these phrases adapt to new technologies.
Speaking of adaptation, let's look at how "it slipped my mind" has become this universally accepted memory disclaimer. Psychologists actually rate it as one of the top 3 most effective phrases for diffusing social tension.
Now, that's something I hadn't heard before. Do you think it's because it removes personal responsibility in such a subtle way?
Exactly. And what's really fascinating is how these phrases often work in combination. Linguistic studies show that using multiple softening phrases increases perceived sincerity by about 60%.
That reminds me of how these expressions often need perfect timing to work effectively. It's like this delicate social choreography.
You know what's particularly interesting? Research indicates that the timing of these phrases can impact their effectiveness by up to 75%. Using them too early or too late can actually make the situation more awkward.
Well, that certainly explains why these social interactions can feel so complex sometimes. There's actually a science to it.
And here's something surprising. Neurolinguistic studies show that self-deprecating phrases like "I'm terrible with names" actually activate empathy centers in listeners' brains, making them more likely to form positive impressions.
That's exactly why these phrases are so powerful. They're not just words, they're actually triggering specific psychological responses.
Well, consider this. Experts have found that successful professionals use these types of phrases an average of 23 times per day, creating what they call social buffer zones in potentially awkward situations.
Hmm. So these aren't just random expressions, they're actually crucial tools for professional success.
Right? And what's particularly fascinating is how these phrases adapt across different professional contexts. Studies show that about 85% of successful business negotiations include at least one of these social buffering phrases.
That's such a compelling statistic. It really shows how mastering these expressions isn't just about being polite, it's about professional effectiveness.
And here's what really gets me. Research indicates that people who skillfully use these phrases are perceived as 30% more competent and 40% more likable than those who don't.
You know what makes this all so relevant? How these findings apply to virtually every professional interaction we have.
Well, as we wrap up, let's consider one final insight. Studies show that these linguistic tools aren't just social niceties. They're actually fundamental to building professional relationships that last 60% longer than those without them.
That really drives home why understanding these social dynamics is so crucial in today's professional world.
And perhaps that's the most important takeaway. In a world where professional success increasingly depends on social intelligence, mastering these subtle linguistic tools isn't just helpful, it's essential.